I don't know if you could see it, but these are the hills right above my apartment building. About a week ago, they were all on fire. And unfortunately, I also had to evacuate my apartment. Damn near speechless right now.
The neighborhood was really leveled.
The worst of the windstorm is still to come.
What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. As you probably know, on January 8th, Los Angeles had one of the biggest wildfires in history.
The growing fire in Southern California.
Powerful winds and fire concerns. It's a very risky situation, a lot at stake right now.
The devastating fires are leaving families in Pasadena without homes, jobs, and of course, basic necessities.
At the time of this recording, there were about 180,000 evacuation orders given to Los Angeles residences. And unfortunately, I also had to evacuate my apartment. I wanted to create this video to raise awareness and showcase a little bit more about what LA is like currently, about a week after the fires. I wanted to talk a little bit more about kind of my experience having to evacuate, because honestly, I think that was probably one of the most scariest moments of my life. I want to preface this by saying that there's a lot of people that I know that lost everything, their homes and their belongings. And so in no way, shape, or form do I want to compare my experiences to them. I simply just want to talk about kind of what I had to go through as just a Los Angeles resident. As these fires were happening, people around me are looking at their phones and kind of seeing like where these fires are and like how bad they are. But it wasn't until the Hollywood fire started that it started to feel a lot more real to me, because that's where I live. I was actually taking a nap when these fires started because I just got back from India and I was super jet lagged. And I was told that the fire started in Hollywood and that we might have to evacuate. In my head, for some reason, I was like, nah, it's probably fine. Like, I'm gonna go back to sleep. Like, how bad could it be? Because to be honest, you don't wanna think that this can happen to you. Then about a half an hour later, I was woken up again and was told that we really need to leave. I went upstairs to my top deck to see how close the fires were. And when I tell you that those fires were like the gates of hell, it was just like, it was so big and so close that you can feel the warmth of the fire right on your skin as soon as you go outside. Not only that, you can smell like the ash and the burning. It was just like this, it was insane. At that moment, I knew we had like 15 minutes max to like get out of this apartment because who knows what's gonna happen. So we packed our valuables like laptops, passports, all that good stuff. And then unfortunately had to leave a lot of stuff in the apartment. Leaving that apartment, looking around one more time and shutting that door was like so heartbreaking because I have so many memories and so many sentimental items of mine that are here that I knew would probably be burned down if the fires ended up here. But once we got to the streets, it was mayhem. If you think of like a zombie apocalypse movie, that's exactly how I can describe it. 5+ lanes of traffic on 4 lanes. Like people are driving through sidewalks. It was just, no one was following the rules. Red lights were on. People were going. It was just like mayhem. What was also super scary about that was I was perpendicular towards the fire. So half of my face is feeling like the heat of the fire and the other half is on the other side. In the heat of the moment, you really don't know how severe these things can be until it really happens. It really put into perspective how other people might have felt who actually lost their homes, lost everything, even lost people. At the time of this recording, there's a documented 25 people who lost their lives because of this fire. It's just truly, truly heartbreaking. I know my channel surrounds LA culture, like going to red carpets, seeing celebrities, and kind of showing you the glitz and glams of Los Angeles. But I felt it wouldn't be right unless I showed you the other side of Los Angeles, the side that's real and the struggles that people are facing right now. I know a lot of my audience is not from the United States, and so there will actually be a ton of resources in the description, like links, donation links, just a ton of educational sources. In this video, we're going to explore a few different things. We're going to meet up with one of my friends, David, who actually was able to go through the fires in the peak of the moment and kind of document a lot of what he saw in the midst of these fires. It's truly insane, and even watching that video that he posted was just truly crazy. Next, we're going to go directly to the Palisades where the biggest fire happened and kind of show you what it's like right now, from burned houses, first responders, and just kind of show you what the environment looks like. And last but not least, we want to show you a little bit about how the community of LA is coming together and banding together to help this cause. 2 things I want to make super clear is that 1, this is for educational purposes only. We are in no way, shape, or form trying to exploit anybody. This is not a sneaking in video. This is not a breaking the law type of video. This is really just us following the rules and making sure that we can document as much as we can. This is strictly for awareness and educational purposes. And the second thing I want to bring up is that this video will not be monetized and there will be no sponsorships attached to this video. This is strictly just for awareness. That being said, there will be donation links in the description of the video, and I strongly urge you to donate if you can. Let's get on into it. All right, guys, so we're out here. We got Rohan, back on camera duty, guys. We're gonna go look at the fires and see what we can see. But I couldn't do this by myself, so we had to bring in my boy, David. And if you don't know David, what's up, man? If you don't know David, David's a really awesome Czech YouTuber, and he actually filmed a really awesome video of actually going through the fires and kind of seeing like his perspective on like what was going on at the heat of the moment.
I want us to show today like what's been going on in the last week, and also how the community has been coming together to support each other. There's a lot to talk about, so let's get to it.
Let's get right into it, man. So we're going close to the Santa Monica area, which is like pretty close to where the Palisades are. But personally, I've never actually been to that area yet because of containment and because of just like safety reasons. But we have David here who actually did go see the fires, and he was actually really close by. So I want to ask, like, David, like, what was your perspective, you know, actually being in that environment? Like, what was it like?
Yeah, well, I would say, since we're heading over to Santa Monica, when I was here this time last week, essentially, the air quality was actually a lot worse, so things are getting better now. You could clearly see the smoke in the air, and you could also smell it, and most people were actually wearing masks, whereas now I don't see that many people wearing masks. I mean, the air is pretty clean now, which is really positive. I honestly didn't know what I was gonna see or what to expect. We all saw the footage from the media. You know, as I got closer, I realized that, first of all, there was a huge storm, so a lot of the branches and palm leaves and everything was all over the floor. There were cars that were smashed from branches flying off of trees. The neighborhood was really leveled, and it was very sad to see. People were already evacuated, and there was really nothing to save anymore. Like, I didn't even see firefighters in most of the neighborhood anymore because there was really nothing to fight for. Some of the buildings still had active fire in them, and it was definitely very hot and very hard to breathe due to all the fumes and the smoke coming out of the fires.
So to give you context, like, there were total of 7 fires. So cumulatively, there was about 23 or 25,000 acres that were burned. The city of Manhattan is around 14,000 acres. So total acres that were burned down in LA is almost twice the size of the city of Manhattan in New York, which, if you put into context, like, that is just insane to think about. We have a personal friend who immigrated to LA to start a business, and their house burned down. It's really sad, and it's just unfortunate. But I know we talk a lot about kind of like what's happened in LA, but what the good part is, I'm seeing every single story post on Instagram of like volunteer links. Like, people were so quick to help and respond and really kind of give their most valuable asset, which is time, to these causes. And I thought that was just super awesome, and just made me feel like really proud of the city that I live in, because it could have very easily went the other way, where like people didn't care, people were doing their own thing, you know, and just kind of turning a blind eye to what happened. But to see people actually giving so much energy and time in a quick moment, be like, I'm here to help, along with the people around me, and it was such a unique experience, I thought. And of course, we're gonna obviously help out as well and do what we can to you know, be a part of the community that we're in and help out. So we'll see what happens. I know most of my audience is not from the United States, so to give you an idea of like how close things are, like, this is the pier, this is Santa Monica, right up there is kind of where the Palisades are. The pier is one of the most like populated areas. It's a tourist attraction for a lot of people in LA. Usually there's a ton more people out here. I'm not sure if that's due to the fires, but this highway right here is the Pacific Coast Highway. So this actually leads right to the Palisades, and it's like one of the most, like, I guess, quote unquote, famous roads in LA. So they've actually closed it down because of the fires, just to keep everyone safe and secure, which is, you know, obviously for the better. We're gonna kind of walk through and showcase a little bit more of like what we're seeing out here, and yeah, we'll see what happens. All right, guys, so we got some bikes because we want to try to actually get on the boardwalk, and we can't bring our car there. And I didn't want to bring the camera out too, because again, we're not trying to draw a scene and distract like anybody who's out there, especially like the first responders who are there. So, ready?
Okay, let's do it.
Let's see.
Here we go.
All right, we've made it to the beach, and we're gonna ride along the coast to try and get as close as we can safely. But no, this might take like 30 minutes of riding. Could be more. find out. Guys, so to give you an idea, this isn't quite the Palisades yet, but as we get further down, the buildings we're gonna see probably looked a lot like this. Or they did look a lot like this, except, well, they don't anymore.
Okay, so as we're kind of making our way through Santa Monica, we actually stopped here because I want to show you guys sort of what it's like right now on Pacific Coast Highway. So if you want to see right here, there's like some blockades, some people like here guiding traffic. The other thing I want to show you guys is this, where like you can see on the sides of the mountains, a lot of mountains were kind of touched clearly by the fires, and you can tell like, you know, the difference between what we just saw versus kind of where we are now.
So that's like right there. That's like the first burnt thing we've seen, which is like a little chunk of the hillside. There's definitely a blockade up there. But we are gonna see how far we are able to go.
One thing that I want to definitely like put emphasis on is the fact that like we're not storm chasers. Like we're not here trying to go like through fires. We're only kind of going where we're able to go. I believe the fires in the Palisades are still going. I think it's like 40% contained at the moment of filming this video. It kind of just goes to show like how powerful some of these fires are, and how many resources are involved and how many people are involved to sort of alleviate these things. It's getting more real as we're kind of making our way down and starting to see like less people, more police, more of like these like closed off roads. It's getting surreal. So if you look over here, you can clearly see the charred hillside. It's unbelievable, just this alone, to know that this times like 1,000 was what the effects of the fire were.
Bro lost his hat.
Lost the hat, man. These winds are crazy. Gotta rep my city, you know what I'm saying? Gotta rep LA. So we've now kind of got to like the end of the road as far as we can go on bikes, and as you see, they're sort of closed off the rest of the path. What's interesting is it's pretty close up with these burned, charred plants, and to see like kind of how like the fires jump from this area to like this area is really, really interesting.
Things smell a little bit different up here, which makes sense. I'm assuming there's another blockade further up the hill, but yeah, we're just gonna see.
Hey guys, as we're starting to make our way up, these trees are really burnt and fried. We actually found this, I don't know, this drawer I guess that someone left.
And it's like a lot of these homes are fine, but like the surrounding, you know, grass and hillside. So I've got to imagine these homeowners were pretty scared.
Yeah, we're gonna keep going up, I guess, and you know, see what we can see. So as we were making our way up, it starts to smell a lot more like burnt and almost like this barbecue smell. Then we looked over here, and you can see sort of this house is just absolutely torn through, and just around these sides is so charred and burned. Like, it is now getting very real and very scary, and you kind of feel a little uneasy just being in this environment. I can only imagine what like some of these homeowners must feel when, you know, their neighbors' houses potentially burned down, or people who had to evacuate out of this area. It's devastating, really.
So behind us, we're looking at two different buildings. One where you can only see the construction being left as the only thing that's left of the building. And the other building is completely leveled, and the only thing that's left is the chimney. Again, the chimney is there just because it's the only part of the building that's made out of bricks. The rest of the building was wooden. That's why it's completely wiped out.
And when you originally came, right, when you originally saw these fires and when you were there, you noticed that as well, right? There was all these chimneys.
It was just one chimney next to another and no buildings whatsoever. They were all level. It kind of reminded me of like a graveyard.
Oh my God.
It was terrible. So look at the tree here. You see one side of it is completely burnt over. The rest of the tree is fine. And the difference is that the tree is alive, so it didn't burn down completely, whereas the wood used on the buildings, that's not wood that's alive, it's dry wood, so it burns very quickly.
It's just absolutely crazy. It's unbelievable how just devastating it must have been. Like, it's unbelievable to see it so close up. This almost feels like, you know, you watch movies sometimes and you see these things, you know, in media, but to physically kind of be here, I'm like at a loss for words, man. This is actually kind of, it's kind of unbelievable. This is unbelievable. Look at this. The car, the house, like, this was someone's home. You know what I mean? Like, this is someone lived here. All their belongings, everything, like, their memories is just gone. gone. Like, I can't even imagine, you know what I'm saying? Like, being in this place and seeing this is just unreal. This is like out of a, it's like, feels like I'm out of a movie. Like, honestly, it feels like you're just watching like a clip from a movie, but.
And trying to keep it respectful. I just want to, I don't know, it's literally impossible to process. It's hard to even comprehend what this is, and let alone the emotions of the homeowner here.
It's like you've been evacuated, you're out of town or whatever, and you come back, and this is like the view that you have of a house that you've been building over probably years and years, and you had, you know, all your memories, all your things tied to it.
Fires happened on January 7th, and a lot of people were on holiday because winter break, New Year's. So to even be away, I actually saw this TikTok of this girl that was in Mexico with her boyfriend as her apartment was burning down. How do you even brace yourself for, like, what do you bring? And I don't know. I'm just like kind of damn near speechless right now to just see what I'm seeing right now in real life. So as we're starting to bike up this hill, I'm starting to feel a little bit more congested. My eyes are a little bit watery because of the smog. But yeah, thought I'd share just for those who are interested. So as you can see behind me, this is really the end of where we can go in the Palisades to keep us safe. You know, the fires are still going on. It's only a certain portion of it is contained. So we want to be respectful and want to be safe. Obviously, we're not storm chasers. We're not first responders. So we want to make sure that we stay safe. And that's exactly what they're here to do. To show you the other side of how everyday people are helping out the cause from a volunteer perspective, we're going to go actually to some of these volunteer centers and really help out in that way. So stick around and let's do it.
Go.
We just got back. We're gonna go to the parking lot and head to Santa Monica College to go volunteer. But I know I have a ton of thoughts on what I just saw and just seeing kind of everything destroyed and just like the first responders there and pretty much no foot traffic whatsoever was just a bizarre experience. But yeah, David, like, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you know, for me, this was the second time in the neighborhood. First time I saw the houses as they were literally burning down there, right then. I was absolutely shocked and terrified at the time. Now that I see it about a week later, now I'm thinking, okay, it's really time to rebuild. Now we know a lot more about what the damage is, and it's very, very clear that this isn't something that's gonna take a couple of weeks to clear out and rebuild. It's gonna take years, if not decades, to rebuild the same type of community, to rebuild the same type of feeling and a sense of home for a lot of these people. Will take a very, very long time, and it's just very, very upsetting.
You know, I thought that it was going to be intense, and I assumed that it was going to be intense, but to be honest, I didn't know really what we could actually see. I figured we might get to like the barricades or whatever and maybe like see some damages, but to actually physically see like homes that were within a foot away from us that were just torn down, and to see like the memories, like you could see like there was like briefcases, like a basketball hoop, like a car, and golf clubs. Like these are personal things that belong to people, and to see all that sort of torn down, it's just like, I don't know. I don't even know what to say. Like it was unbelievable. Yeah.
For me, literally being 6 miles from the fire, I could see it from my apartment, but largely unaffected, thankfully. I don't know. I expected to feel like really just shocked and whatnot, and then you're standing in front of somebody's home. You're seeing their freaking charred Range Rover and their basketball hoop and their tree with Christmas lights still on it, and the home after that, and the home after that, and it still doesn't process. Like it doesn't even feel like real life.
It doesn't feel real.
It
for
doesn't.
Sure.
You're seeing like helicopters go by, you're seeing fire trucks, you're seeing police officers and people from like the Coastal Guard, like just everywhere. And it just was so like, you felt like you were in sort of like a war zone almost. Part of the reason why I think I wanted to see it for myself was because it's so close to home, and the fact that like when I physically am there and physically able to see things like this, it like just makes it a little bit more real for me. But on the flip side, I'm excited to go volunteer and kind of show you guys sort of what the community is doing to help the situation, see what we can do, and we'll go from there. So we just got to Santa Monica College. We're about to go volunteer, but for the sake of just like keeping this sort of, you know, real and not trying to like exploit anybody, we want to keep this kind of private. So we're just gonna not film this part. I'm really hoping that, you know, whoever watches this video, you know, that this video maybe like kind of showed you a different angle of like what's going on in Los Angeles right now, and you know what the average people like us are kind of going through, just as just people who are in Los Angeles and what we're seeing.
For what it's worth, I feel very optimistic. I think the situation is getting better and better every single day. The air is better, the fire is more contained, the winds are lower too, which is one of the main causes of why the fires were here in the first place. So I'm optimistic.
In the description below, I'm going to add a ton of resources like donation links, volunteer sites if you are in LA or near the area, as well as just resources to just kind of stay informed about what's going on. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Thank you, David, for coming
Thanks for having me.
Of course,
dude.
man. Of course. No, this is great, man. And I really appreciate you for taking time to like be out here with us, man, and going through this.
Yeah.
Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment below, you know, anything else you'd like to see. I know this video is a little bit different from what I normally post, but again, we want, in the spirit of trying to showcase like everything that Los Angeles has to offer, I just don't think it would be right to show anything else if we didn't talk about the fires and the situation that's happening right now. But we'll see you guys on the next adventure.
Stay safe.
Peace. Doing good things.
I can't help that I miss you now.